So on the first side, I guess it's table A, there's no numbers. It is telling me the years since 1970, so I have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. The first thing it wants me to do is draw a scatter plot of my data. So I am going to draw this. I have years goes on bottom, so I'm counting by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. That doesn't go up to 50. And then the highest my money goes up to is 7, so I'm going to count by dollars. So I have my wage in dollars, and this is years since 1970. I have 0, 1.6, so that's right here. I have 10, 310, 20, 380, 30, 515, 40, 775. Okay. So it wants me to use the regression feature on my calculator. These will be L1. This will be L2. This is where I want to go to the stat. So I go stat, edit. If I have numbers, I arrow up. I press clear. I arrow down. Arrow up. Press clear. Arrow down. Then I type in my numbers. I have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. Then I have 1.6, 3.10, 3.80. 515, 775. I go second mode to go home. I'm going to clear my screen. Then I'm going to go stat, arrow over to calc. I want exponential, which is choice 0, so I scroll down until I see it. I go down to calculate, and I press enter. Because this is money, I want 2 decimal places. So I'm going to write y equals 1.81, and then in parentheses, 1.04 to the x. My growth factor is the number in the parentheses. So this is going to be 1.04. The percent increase is the 1.04 minus 1, which is 0.04 times 100, 4%. The hourly wage in 2020, I want to figure out how many years since 1970. I am off the screen. So I want to do 2020 minus 1970, which gives me 50. 50 is going to be my exponent. So I have 1.81 times 1.04 to the 50. 1.81 parentheses 1.04 to 50 gives me 1286. This is money, so it's a dollar sign. Number F, it wants me to figure out in what year the wages will be above $15 an hour. So I'm going to graph y equals 15 on my calculator and my graph from B. So y equals 1.81, 1.04 to the x. So I type this both in. Then I want to go fix my window so I can see these. I need my y to be larger than 15, so I'm going to go to Window. And I'm going to change my y max. I'm going to just make it 20. My x max, I know that in 2020, which is 50 years later, it's 1286. So I'm just going to go 100 years for my x max, just so I make sure I can see it on my screen. Then I press graph. Okay. Now that it's graphed, I go to second trace. They mean the same thing. I want to find where they cross, so I pick choice 5. I press enter, enter, enter again, and I get 53.9. So that's 54 years plus 1970. Let's go back. 1970 plus 54, 2024. Okay. I'm going to go do the same thing on the back. This time it is telling me the depth of the water and the amount of light. It wants me to draw a scatter plot. This is going to be my depth. I'm counting by 10. And this one goes 100 and then goes down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to count by 10s over here too. So 0 is at 100, 10 is at 82, 20 is at 67, 30 is at 55, 40 is at 45. So for B, I want to type this into my stat. I go stat edit. I messed up earlier, as you can see, so I went back to fix my points, and I'm re-recording from that beginning. Then I'm going to go second mode to go home. I press stat. I go down to calc. I want to arrow down to 0. Press enter, and then I go to calculate. Then it gives me y equals, I want to round to 2 decimal places, so 100.2, and then 0.98 to the x. My decay factor is the piece in parentheses, so 0.98. To find my percent decrease, I do 1 minus 0.98, which gives me 0.02, and I times by 100 to get 2%. For E, I want to plug in 60 for my exponent, so I'm going to do 100.02 times 0.98, and I plug in 60. I get 29.76. Then for F, I want to find y equals 50, and then I'm going to type in my equation from B. Y equals 100.02, parentheses 0.98 to the x. So I go type these in, and this one was where I messed up. Okay. Then I want to change my windows, so I changed this so my x max goes to 110, so it's more than this equation, and I left the x max from the front side. Then I'm going to go graph it. Okay, now that it's graphed, I want to go second trace, intersect. Okay, then I go second trace, intersect. Sorry, the video cut out. I go enter, enter, enter 3 times, and it says 34. So I just rounded to 34 for my answer.